Okay. Well, here's the hear that. So,
Now what do you want? Go on, I'm waiting.
hmm. No, fuck that now. But that's weird. Okay. Look at the hypernova. show up. Really and don't worry about that one. Get 5 keep adjusting it. Just grab it. It's got under my leveling. Hmm. Hmm. I think of this thirsty man. that roll. Yep. Cool. Gold. Alright, I'm going to be going over my Gley weapon build in detail, and I'll be posting this video out. So I'll go over all the options and as many of the scenarios as I possibly can, and then we'll be running in the new infiltration operation in the Axian Plains. We'll be showcasing it in the supermassive receptor mission. So with Gley in this build, is ammo is everything. Again, Gley is a weapon, primarily a weapon descendant, and she does not have shields or MP. So whatever you do with your coring system, that's probably one of the more important things with Gley, is she does not spec into MP or shield, so those are not viable options for those. So if you do have something with that, just replace it with something else that'll be more beneficial in the long run as you grind for better loot, better reactors, or better rolls on some of the cores, whatever it may be. So to start off, when it comes to the reactor, again, it doesn't really matter what reactor you use. Again, I have a dimensional one because it scales with their maximized lethality, or number 3 skill, which we'll go over, and the non-attribute power. I just have a good roll on the skill cooldown and the skill duration up on that one, and that's primarily what you would want for the reactor for the time being. Right now, I like to run this with a 2-piece firebrand and a 2-piece shell crusher. The reason why is, again, is the duration. We want to have the perfect group, again, so that we can pop our maximized lethality and have that up as long as we possibly can. So we want to make sure it's the perfect group, and I'll show that in a minute as well. So that's why we're currently running with the firebrand. What I am looking for is if we're able to gain some, as another option for a power increase, you can use this too, where you can swap out some of this. You lose the duration on the perfect group, but if you can get the right, hopefully you can get some buffs, maybe even the what are they called now, the new Ancestor modules. Maybe there's a benefit that you can get some more duration out of that to keep the loop going. If that was the case, you'd be able to run the weak point damage, which gives you an extra 5% on the weak point, which is pretty slick when you combo that with the weak point damage that the guns that she lays out with, especially if you've got a weak point damage. I mean, that's just crazy with the last dagger. Restored Relic has a little bit of weak point in it, even though it's just an AoE type weapon, but we'll go over again all of that in detail. That's just an option for the reactors for min-maxing some of the damage out there. I know that's what you would kind of do for the Colossi or the Abyss challenges and stuff like that. So again, when it comes to the external components, again, 2-piece Firebrand, 2-piece Shell Crusher. When it comes to the rolls, again, you just don't want to have anything that has to do with MP or shield. So again, these aren't great. I would love something better than the equipment drop rate. That's a nice roll on this memory right here. Again, consumable drop rate, I could use something else in there, and then the fire resistance and max MP. So I'm just going to take this time just to also show when it comes to the external components, if you have a great roll and it's just not in double gold. As you can see here, I'm just going to use this example. I have one in blue and it's driving me nuts. You can quickly just take your external component over to the auxiliary workbench and external component option enhancement, select that. This is the one we want. And again, as long as you've got the resources needed for it, we've got an abundance of them. We can upgrade this enhancement. We're probably going to max out the fire resistance, but at least we can get the max HP into purple. Boom, there you go. That enhancement's completed. And again, it's only 5k. So just keep rolling it as many times or as many of of the resources you want to spend. There we go. We finally got like so what happened there on that last little blip was you get an extra successful hit rate. On that successful hit rate 880. We're already up to the max. We've burnt enough of that. But that's just a quick way to enhance your external component options. Again, if you've got a really slick reactor and you just wanted to make sure, again, now you can see they're both gold stats. So another one I could level up would be the Shell Crusher. I'll wait a little bit, but that's a really good roll. But, there's no reason why I can't have that in double gold. So just in case you don't know about that, there's that as well, and obviously that's also available for your reactor. You can level up again the skill cooldown and duration into, if you had it in blues or purples and you wanted it in gold, that's where you would take it. You can go ahead and get it up to snuff. That's what we're currently running with the build when it comes to this. When it comes to the arcade tuning, again, we're running into the gun build. So we're not dealing with any of the Colossus. So when it comes, this is my Colossus setup. Alright, now when it comes to my gun, so it's unique onto the weapon that you're carrying. So if you're running Colossus, I was just showing you the Colossus setup, and then this would be for my non-critical hit weapon builds, mostly speccing into multi and weak point, and mostly into as many as the weapon attack damage I can. Advantage affinity is great again for the gun that I'm running, so it's really dependent on what kind of gun you're running. You can execute a skill tree that you need. So there was the Colossus one that I had, and if you wanted to, the crit build, you just spec into some of the critical hit damage, and again, we're kind of on our way there for the critical hit rate if you're running a crit weapon. That's the arcade tuning that I use with this build. Again, reactors, external components, inversion reinforcements, again, don't have them fully kitted out. I am running a melee weapon, so I did spec into this, some survivability and some recovery on the HP as well. A couple of survivabilities and a weapon, and we will be using our next point to go into some some focus boost to get the skill cost down on that, or I might go into some of the melee weapon damage down at the bottom here. There's one there, landing a multi with firearm grants strike, weak point damage, so we'll be speccing into that one absolutely for sure on the next skill point up with this skill tree. Kind of just working through it for the new season as it just dropped. But yeah, and again, anything to do with increasing your weapon damage. So there's landing melees for the swords, or you can spec into multi-hit damage on that one. Again, some skill cost reduction, or is it skill cost? Yeah, skill cost reduction. You even get some cooldown. Yeah, I think the best one that you would these are pretty solid for the time being. But again, still got a bunch of these to max out. The Descendant model, again, I'm running the modules. Again, I'm running the weapon platform build. So this is my current setup. Again, everything that we have is to spec into our increased sensory. So we want to maximize lethality. Duration, as you can see, it's at 10.1 with a 9.9 cooldown. That's the perfect loop, and because of that, we got the firearm crit damage at 10. And the weak point, like it's continuously allowing us to fire a gun non-stop, which again, when you have the right modules equipped on your weapon, is just stacking an insane amount of gun damage. Absolutely love Gley. This build is insane. So obviously the Ancestor modules are new. We do have the Thirster's resolution here, so I'm just going to go over some scenarios with regards to the Ancestor's module. So when it comes to the weapon build or any of the other builds, unfortunately I'm going to talk about some of the other builds. It's kind of hard to know what to max this out to. As you can see, I've rolled it. I will show you how to how to roll it and what my thought is for it. I don't want to equip anything on there right now, but if I'm looking for something that is going to benefit me overall, it would be skill cooldown. So if I can somehow get skill cooldown to roll at a high percentage or at a legendary rate, I might be able to drop that off, and then hopefully I can get a duration or something else that will honestly help me again, like I was talking about, be able to increase cooldown and duration to help with the maximize lethality or the increased sensory loop, which in turn, in theory, like I was talking about, would allow me to drop the firebrand, which doesn't give me any extra damage, but I would still be allowed to loop that with the Ancestor module and be able to equip the ballistic for additional weak point damage with the gun. So that's what we're kind of hoping for with the Thirster's resolution. So now I'll go over the Ancestor module. And that's just right beside what is his name? Ceylon. I can't pronounce the names properly, so I apologize if I'm butchering that. But you can readjust the modules, your Ancestor modules here. So again, how it works is obviously, the min-max game, we want the Thirster's resolution. So again, season just dropped, we want these cooling units. We've got to farm a ton of these. That's what we're kind of up to in our normal game. And then over here you can see that you have what it will essentially roll on your slots. It'll be 2 positive, 3 positive rolls, 2 positive with 1 negative, 3 positive with 1 with 1 roll or 1 attribute or advantage option that will be a negative option. Now I've been running with this because, as you can see, when you run it, the options change. You don't get a full set of options. Each set, I believe, skill, critical hit, defense, max HP, non-attribute. Okay, so they all have the same chance at rolling, so don't quote me on that. They all have the same chance on rolling for each one of the attributes. It's just the more, risk you take Yeah, the more reward it'll be. As you can see, it's at a non-attribute 0.13, or we could go with defense, or even use, what was I saying, duration cooldown would be good. The duration would be nice on that. 7.6, yeah, 4.13. So duration up 2 to 1, 1.89. So it's just a matter of deciding which role. See, 2 to 1 is actually it nets you the better damage, or the better stats off of that. So again, once you have that, and once you have an idea of what it is, you just need to make sure that we have the superconductive cooling units. Again, we're selecting the one that's going to give us the most, benefit versus the rolls that it will net us, and that's the 2 to 1. 2 up to 1 down, hit the readjustment. And boom, we get defense, singular, and skill rate. I don't really, again, that doesn't really help me. But again, as we keep rolling, these keep shooting up. It starts to cost, so we just need to keep grinding it. I'll roll one more time just to see what happens. Skill duration and skill cooldown at 0.78. So that's actually beneficial. So we roll that one. We'll take that one. And now we'll be able to apply that to our, hopefully, our Descendant module here. I think if it was more in the gold, it would probably be a help. So this is exactly what I wanted, some duration and cooldown. Because again, we don't want the dimensional skill power modifier. It doesn't serve us anything, but we can swap that out for skill cooldown. This is one that we can actually use the Ancestor module to hopefully net us a gain based off of the rolls that that we're trying to get. So if I slap this sucker on, oh, it's a root. No, I don't know what would have to happen here. Take focus on dimension off. Take the skill cooldown off. What do we want so that we can know if it'll benefit us? Insufficient capacity to equip. Retail. Oh. HP collector, we don't need that. Okay. Here it is. Right there. So another thing that we have to pay attention to is the Ancestor module mastery rank. It's at 19, so you have to be like, some of these I can't even utilize them properly right now because the mastery ranks are higher than what my current Descendant is, even at 24. So some of these ranks are also a problem. So we got the roll. We'll just hit save real quick. And yeah, so look at that. That increased our duration to 11.8 with a cooldown of 9.2. So that's a huge gain when it comes to the Ancestor module, and you just see it right there. And that wasn't even the best of the rolls. So again, I'll go back to kind of where it was. We'll have to obviously play around with this. So what did we have here? We had focus on dimension. HP collector. Oh yeah, accelerated drive shaft. Alright, so this is the build as it was. So again, maximize lethality 9.9 and duration 11.10. So now with the Ancestor module, we're able to drop the focus on dimension because again, we're only trying to get some duration and cooldown out of this. We don't need this anymore. So we'll save this with our current build. This now drops us out of loop at a 12-second cooldown with a 10.1 duration. Now is there anything that I can... Cool. Now, taking that one out, just made a quick little swap. Now we've got the Thirster's resolution in there for the Ancestor module. Okay. And then we'll hit save. And then boom, we've just increased the duration. Now duration is absolutely king when it comes to the build. So our duration and our cooldown is now at an increased loop. So it's at this particular point, like I was saying. Now I can start thinking about min-maxing my build. So we're gonna go back. And we're gonna take a look at, again, like I said, the firebrand, because again it was only netting us some range and duration. We don't, and our loop is good now. So now we're gonna throw on the ballistic. Alright, so again, not the greatest set. We'll upgrade it in a minute. Descendant modules. And look at that. Cooldown and duration. Nothing. Nothing lost. We gain the extra, the extra slot. And we picked up an extra set of weak point damage. So that's a W right there for the Ancestor module, and that's probably a good little example of what we're kind of shoot for when it comes to the Ancestor module, just to see what will benefit us if we're able to if we're actually able to slot them in there. So we can keep working on this as well, because that cooldown can be better in duration, and there's more slots to go with. Like we could actually scoop up again when it comes to the Ancestor modules, different ones for each one of these different builds to maybe get a little bit more out of them in the long run. So that's the Ancestor build. This is my updated weapon build. Again, you're trying to loop the increased sensory as much as possible. Just showed you everything that had to happen with the Ancestor modules. We run this with the Kuiper hollow points with the trigger module. Again, when it comes to weapon trigger modules, there is literally nothing that's going to help Gley that I am aware of right now. The Kuiper hollow points, at least this fills them. The recoil is nuts, not fun. but again, it is the only one that you can use with the weapon build for Gley right now. Or just continue to farm a better trigger module for that, but that's the trigger that you'd want for it. So again, like I was saying, everything has to do with duration and cooldown. I will go over this. You want the mid-air maneuvering or any module with that'll give you at least the increased, module slottings, predator instinct. Again, this one overtook the mass amplification because it actually is, it was bugged, now it doesn't, or it's applying the rates that it should. So again, when you're in your frenzy state, we're in it all the time, you get stage 2 firing after a 2-second duration, 42% increase attack damage, absolutely just nuts. We've got our survivabilities, our cooldowns, again cooldown, survivability nodes, cooldown nodes. Just went over the Ancestor module, which helped out us a ton. Got a little bit of survivability for the HP, because again, that's all we really need. Again, we get more modules, maybe we can slot something else for the HP, and bring in more cooldown. That's also a possibility as well now that we have the Ancestor module, so lots of options now. Shot focus again gives us the extra firearm attack. There's a skill power modifier dump on that, but who cares, because again, it's a weapon build, not a skill build. You got your durations, and I run with the accelerated drive shaft. I like to roll around with Gley, and then again you get the increased fire rate, and the damage is absolutely insane with it. I don't know what else you would really run unless you wanted to run the walk a tightrope, but again, it requires HP management. You got to be at low HP. It's just not up all the time. At least accelerated drive shaft, you're rolling around and you get it to proc. It'll proc a lot more, or it's up a lot more than the walk a tightrope. But I guess that would be another option that you could run with Gley on this build if you weren't happy with the accelerated drive shaft. Took me a little bit to warm up to accelerated drive shaft on this build. So there you have that, and then we'll go back, and again, now that we were able to do this, so this is a good one to go over the build right here as far as going, over Ancestor modules and the benefits of them. So now we are going to upgrade our ballistic tracker sensor, because it's a nice one to have on. I'm not too sure. I think this is obviously the best one to have on. Again, it's unfortunate that we have a little bit of a max shield in there, but for the most part we're dealing with HP, so it's not too bad. And again, we're running at some pretty cozy HP, and we don't even have it slotted in there for it, HP and defense. We're about to get bumps on that, and I'm not gonna even think about re-rolling the attributes to go with these right now, because they're not very good. We will update the shell crusher, so we will go over that all right now. Again, you go over to the core crafting bench, external component cores. We're looking for a ballistic. And again, recovery augmentation. We want golds. Flip the core, and again, just be careful. There is 2 of them in here. God knows how many they're gonna add into each one, but we want that max HP roll. And let the RNG begin. You want it purple, no less. Oh yeah, gold. Now we want our defense. Always go with the one with the most. Yeah, we want that at we'll roll for gold. Come on. There we go. So again, these, while we're doing this, these core particle disruptors are huge. Void Abyss metal fragments. Again, if you're able to, again, run some of those Void Abyss, get those tickets for at, the vouchers and buy them. That's what you kind of want to stock into. Get as many of these core particles as you can. Got a good roll going on there now. Scoot it down to our sensor. And we'll just repeat that. Just try to get that HP. Oh, look at that. And gold. And then we'll try to get the defense in gold too. And there's no reason why we can't, because it's the only thing that we got. Come on, you're gonna give it to me right now. Oh. There we go. Got our rolls going. And yeah, that's essentially what you want. So, got those all set up. 24 thou HP, 36 thou defense. And get some fire rate. We were able to net ourselves the weak point damage. Just went over the Ancestor modules, went over the reactors, arcade tuning, went over the different options as far as that's concerned. We're working on our inversion reinforcements. I went over that. We went over the whole Descendant modules in detail, as well as looking at how to upgrade the train of thought, what these Ancestor modules can be used for, and how they will essentially benefit Descendants. And you just saw that firsthand with what we were able to do there. We just netted ourselves an additional 5% additional weak point damage just by applying this Ancestor module. We swapped out the focus on dimension, which we were only using for the cooldown. We were able to get cooldown and duration that were equal to the loop to keep us going, being able to swap out the firebrand set in for the ballistic set for the external components. Absolutely huge. So we'll just continue to grind for better rolls. Again, I showed how to re-roll and get from blue to gold. And that goes, double for the reactors as well. Yeah, this is my weapon build. Yeah, went over all of this stuff here with you. When it comes to the weapons, I like to run, my favorite weapons to run with Gley is the Last Dagger and the Restored Relic. I have multiple setups for Gley. We're going to run it with the Chill, for instance, in here. But if I needed to swap over to anything as far as fire, crit, or even swapping this out for electric, I would do so easily within the build, just based on increased sockets stuff. So we're going to run this with the Gley Chill. I'm not going to go into too much about this build, other than when it comes to the Oh, we don't want the. I usually run this. That's when I'm running with the bossing, but we are going to use the sharp precision shot. Real life fighter is another option. That's if you're able to hit your weak point shots. Real life fighter is a viable option now instead of sharp precision shot. I only recommend it if you're running against like the the Colossus bosses. Just so you're able to take advantage of the. I don't even know where the hell it went now. Oh, there it is there. The weak point damage. That's an extra 50% when we go up that way. And again, you're, 10 stacks is 60%. So it's a give and take. You're getting fire rate here, you're getting weak point on the real life fighter, fire rate versus weak point. You know what I mean? That's options as well for Gley. That's some different. Again, I usually just swap out sharp precision shot for real life fighter if I'm doing like solo bossing, Colossus, Abysses, all of that stuff. But again, it's just speccing into some weak point damage. Again, getting the fire rate up for some firearm attack. I run it with a double chill or the triple chills just to keep everything humming with that. Fire rate, better concentration. And swap out one of these chills for better concentration. You can swap it out for better insight again, and then you can spec into the other type of the tree that I had. But again, I'm focusing primarily on really chilling these guys out. But there's different options that you can definitely utilize with that. But that's my chill. Toxic is pretty much the same, just specking into some. Oh, sorry, that is concentration priority. So firearm crit damage. We are into some crit damage for this and weak point damage. My apologies on that. There's a toxic weak, and then there's my fire. I got nothing too crazy. I do switch out from to ultra precision strike to overwhelm with sharp precision, just because you can take advantage of the advantage affinity, which we're also spec'd into within our arcade tuning tree. Here now, and because we're in crit, again, we don't need to worry about actually having the damage is nice. But again, we can spec fully into the damage. We do have the multi-hit on there. We could go into some crit rate again because we're running the our weapon with some critical hit damage. We'll just spec fully into the damage to take advantage of the damage. So again, you just utilize your arcade tuning when it comes to the weapon level play. There's only so many slots for the arcade tuning I can use for it. I mean, you can make 3 weapon ones if you want, but each one of these is utilized for something different than the next. So just swapped it around, spec into that. I could go into some of this, take away some of the multi hit. Again, I don't really need the reload time modifier as well. It's kind of a bunk one for Gley. Let's just enhance MP. All right. So for Gley, this is what I'm running for my dagger. It'll also have with the double strike or the multi-hit chance when I swap over to the relic, or when I'm using the relic, I take care of mobbing, and then again you get some multi-hit points on the dagger as well. And again, when it comes to the swords, these are, I still got a long way to go with as far as getting these up. But I do run this with shadow currently right now. This is my module settings for Strike and Pierce. Again, we've got a long way to go with these other swords. To be upfront, again with Gley, they're very powerful because you don't run out of ammo. So another thing that it's worth noting that when you're on the weapon build and you're running your increased sensory, when you have 0 ammo in the clip, and I will show this 0 ammo in the clip, you're still going to be able to use your weapon and the skill that goes with even with nothing in the clip. So the swords are very powerful with Gley. I find the swords only useful against one-on-one enemies. Because they're certainly not going to be able to take out the mobs quick enough. You get, you know, ransacked from behind. These things aren't going to help you at all whatsoever. So it's unfortunate that you have to be within range and then you're getting attacked from behind. But again, one-on-one, these things actually smoke bosses. I'm trying to get these leveled up. The grind for this is insane. Again, this is what I'm working with. Those are the module settings that I'm going with. Strike and Pierce. And again, fully spec'd into attack damage and toxic, additional attack chance, toxic, additional attack damage, melee, toxic, all in gold. And now when it comes to Gley and the...
Would you like to access the laboratory?
The laboratory? Okay. So, when it comes to Gley, it doesn't matter the weapon. Again, I'll show it for all the weapons. 0 ammo in the clip. No, lucky. Reloaded too fast. I'll just use the sword. Oh my god. Just reloads it too fast. Okay, hold on. 0 ammo in the clip. There you go. So with a relic, it doesn't matter. You got nothing in your clip, or you could have 0 ammo, period. So we'll let it re-roll it. Just go to 0. So you can't fire. 0. Pop your 3. And you got ammo. So that's also, like, that's one of what makes Gley disgusting. And again, with the swords, it's the same deal. No ammo consumed. We'll be able to run this. indefinitely without consuming ammo. So that's what's great about Gley. As far as the popping her number 3, increased sensory for maximized lethality, 0 ammo in the clip, still gonna fire bullets. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so in showing that, when it comes to the modules for the weapons, that's why it doesn't matter if you run with, you know, negative reload time, stuff like that. You know, we gain that back. Just by having glaze, getting increased sensory, maximize lethality up. So again, over the modules, it's just a couple of, you know, the action reaction, rifle reinforcements, better concentration priorities, that's crit damage. Went over the updated arcade tuning path for the dagger, fire rate, weak point damage, ultra precision strike, again, successfully attacking them, increasing the fire rate, sharp precision shot, just keep that fire rate up, and increase damage while we're hitting the while we're just hitting shots by pulling the trigger, so that's fantastic. And we're running it with the double chill mod on this build that I've got. And then we again rocking this with the restored relic. It's a fire build, again, doesn't matter. We've got our multis again that we're spec'd into. Charge amplification, again, we don't need the critical hit rate because we're into the multis, but we're taking care of that. On the other end, again, we're using our dagger primarily for this, so it's min-maxing. Again, you can maximize your arcade tuning for the weapon or your prime weapon that you want to carry out. Again, melee weapon, this is what I'm using again for my dagger. As it gets leveled up, we'll just keep speccing into it. So those are the weapon builds. That's literally everything that I could possibly show. We went through a good chunk of it as well, as far as Ancestor modules and the benefits for them and exactly what it benefited us. Here going through it right now. So now I'll just take us out through the infiltration operation, the new infiltration operation season. That is crazy. Does she want to jump in the hot tub? You want to jump in the hot? Oh, she's going in the shower? Okay. Yeah. No, I was just thinking when it gets dark out, but yeah. Oh, does it? Okay. Yeah, I guess you could. Yep. Galaxian Plains, the new one. Supermassive sector. Here we go. Okay, alright. Okay, just give me a minute. I just was in the middle of just trying to record this. Going. Okay. Okay. Perfect. 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 Nice. Very nice. These guys are so. Switch over to the dagger. Fucking saw that guy in half. And again, rolling around with the accelerated drive shaft, you'll see that I've got, you know, on the far right, if you roll around, is what I'm trying to generate at that percentage chance. It'll pop up. As you can see, it's the Predator Instinct that's kind of up there. It is there. That's the accelerated drive shaft, and that allows the weapon to go from that fire rate to this normal set of fire rate. That's how insane the accelerated drive shaft is. Just to note that. Oh, accelerated drive shaft kicked in. Just absolute slaughter. As you can see, the relic for mobbing, ridiculous. Nasty. Nasty. Oh, shit's too big for him. So used to using the grapple though, that's a thing though. You gotta remember to roll. Weapon Gley. Gotta roll, man. Like absolutely zero worry of like getting killed or nothing. Like that's what makes this shit ridiculous. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna switch over to the dagger in a minute. Switching over to the dagger. See, that's where the sharp precision shot is crazy with that. Just makes this part of the boss ridiculously easy. There you go. So again, those are just with my two weapons that I like to run. I could have utilized this sword there to put that on display, but it's not maxed out. I don't know what to tell you. Like any weak weapon or weapon like shotguns, launchers, low magazine ammo, is where you're gonna really see Gley shine. Absolutely love Gley. Probably, you know, I don't know what to say. I really like Gley. She's super powerful. Lots of tons of builds with it. This is her weapon build. I hope it helps you out. There's tons of room for for improvement, and we'll keep on going. The GGs. Another thing as we're loading into this with Gley, when it comes to the, as you can see, the Predator Instinct pop that was just up there. That's our infinite ammo. And as we roll, right there, that is your accelerated drive shaft. That allows your weapon to go from a very slow fire rate to a very fast fire rate. I'll show it here. So that's without accelerated drive shaft. And as again, you just roll around. Takes a little bit sometimes for it to pop, but that's why you roll as much as you can. So it catches. There it is there. And then there you go. So there's the speed of it. And that's when it's not proc. The sheer damage output from the accelerated drive shaft. Again, there's it going. And that's when it's off. Good example. Accelerated drive shaft. Why you use it. Just try to roll around as much as you can. How many of these space crabs we can take down here? Oh, didn't get any of them. Alright, so now we'll switch over to our dagger. Oh, fuck, okay. Too much fucking around there. Ooh. Push too far in. Oh, they killed me pretty quick, maybe just started. Alright, let's give this a shot. Alright, so another thing I'm going to show here, as you roll up, Predator Instincts pop, you can see that little green icon on the side there. That's our increased sensory. This is the accelerated drive shaft, so this is what it is with it and without. I don't know if you can see the difference of it, but as we roll up here, just pop, see a little triangle? That's why we use the accelerated drive shaft. It's just the additional fire rate that we get on it is absolutely ridiculous. So that's how you proc it. It's just a matter of rolling around. Procs at like a, what is it, 30% rate. Obviously, you don't want to sacrifice laying out the damage for the run, but you get it every once in a while, just like that. It pops and it just lays waste to the damage on the field. It's a beautiful thing. We got it to pop again. Fire these rockets into the air to rain down that damage from above. I don't know where these guys are running to. Now we'll go to the dagger and just absolutely fry this guy. Can't handle it. The dagger, disgusting weapon too. And back to our relic, take care of the mobs. As you can see, the Kuiper gauge in the bottom there. Also just constantly maxed out when using the relic. See the counter going up. Netting us more weak point damage. And it just keeps going up and up and up the more we use the relic. Same thing with the dagger. Ooh, that shit was crazy to stand in front of that guy though. Yep, okay, yep. unfortunate. You're gonna have to find your own one. Not even fully leveled up either. GG's. Alright, probably be on later. Yeah, I just wanted to record the Gley build. Start streaming it, even though like it's not usually what I usually do, but I'll start streaming them when I make the videos. That way, they're up. Alright, I'm out. Gley, fucking fun as hell.